There is a deep misunderstanding many ordinary people have about talent. They mistake obedience for excellence. You assign homework, and someone completes it on time. You give a test, and they get the answers right. You assign a task, and they deliver exactly as instructed. You tell them what to do, they do it. You don't tell them, they don't move. You point in one direction, they fire in that direction. And people say, that's top talent. No, that's an intelligent tool. If everything this person does begins with your command, then the real talent in the room is you, not them. Obedience is not a particularly valuable trait. The common learning model has brought about too many compliant top achievers, and thoughtful people have complained about this for decades. I once heard a professor say she interviews graduate applicants and asks, "If you study this field with me, what ideas do you want to explore? What are your research interests?" And often the candidate has nothing to say. Not because they are nervous, because there is truly nothing there. An executive at a multinational once said something similar. Chinese employees are hardworking and smart, but often they move only when pushed. Whatever you measure, they optimize, but they rarely initiate. Obedient excellence is very far from first-rate greatness. Real first-rate people add something. They look at a situation and think, something isn't right here. I should improve it. That difference between I am told to do it and I want to do it is what psychologists call agency. Agency is the capacity to initiate action, make decisions, and exert control over your life and environment. You don't just let life happen to you, you shape life. And that matters because many modern institutions were designed for the needs of 19th century factories. Their logic is behaviorist, carrots and sticks. Rewards, punishments, KPI, rankings, check-ins make people run on a predefined track. But moving is not the same as being alive. Passive systems gradually push people toward what I would call minimum cost compliance. Work that is technically correct, but soulless. People go to work like they're attending a funeral. They go to school like they're serving a sentence. That is what life looks like without agency. So how do you develop agency? There is a framework for this. It's called self-determination theory, or SDT, developed by psychologists Edward Deci and Richard Ryan, and I'd argue it is one of the greatest achievements in modern psychology. SDT doesn't tell you to pump yourself up. It doesn't worship discipline, because discipline alone is not agency. Its central claim is simple. The quality of motivation matters more than the quantity of motivation. High-quality motivation doesn't just help you keep going longer. It helps you perform better, more creatively, and more sustainably. Some psychologists say this depends on where your locus of control is. If control is outside you, you obey. If control is inside you, you act. External control can buy compliance. It cannot buy commitment. SDT says motivation exists on a spectrum, from fully controlled to fully autonomous. Let's walk through it. Level 1 is a motivation. I don't act because I believe action is pointless. This isn't laziness, it's shutdown. A student tries again and again, fails repeatedly, sees no progress, and eventually stops trying. That's learned helplessness. Level 2 is external regulation. I act because you make me act. Work for money. Don't run a red light because of fines. Remove the monitoring, and the behavior disappears. Level 3 is introjected regulation. I act because otherwise I feel guilty. Nobody is forcing you now, but the whip has moved inside your head. You exercise because you fear body shame. You overwork because you fear feeling inadequate. This can produce astonishing willpower, but at enormous psychological cost. Level 4 is identified regulation. Now things change. I act because I believe the goal matters. You may not enjoy memorizing vocabulary, but you want to speak a language. You may dislike studying pharmacology, but you want to heal people. This is the turning point into agency. The value is self-chosen, less internal friction, more ownership. Level 5 is integrated. Regulation. Now the value becomes part of your identity. I work out not to lose weight, but because I'm the kind of person who trains. This is what James Clear emphasizes in Atomic Habits. Behavior and identity merge. And then there is the highest level, intrinsic motivation. I act because I love the activity itself. A child building castles on a beach. A programmer writing open source code at night. A mathematician solving problems. The activity is its own reward. This is pure vitality. And this is where flow emerges. People often think the strongest people are the most disciplined. I don't think so. The strongest people are the most willing. First-rate people are not measurable productivity machines. This is why Confucius sounds surprisingly modern. Those who know something are not as good as those who like it. Those who like it are not as good as those who delight in it. That is basically motivation theory. But of course, much of life is meaningful without being fun. So the goal isn't to eliminate external motivation. It's to internalize it. Move the control point inward. How? Here is SDT's deepest insight. Human beings have 3 basic psychological needs. When these are nourished, agency grows naturally. Not forced, grown. Motivation is not a fire to ignite. It is a plant to feed. Those 3 nutrients are autonomy, a sense of choice, competence, a sense that challenge is difficult but manageable, relatedness, a sense of belonging and support. If you have choice, progress, and connection, motivation flourishes. If those are crushed, motivation withers. There's famous evidence for this. In an experiment, Deci had people solve puzzles. One group was paid, the other played simply for fun, and something strange happened. Those who were paid became less interested. Once the money stopped, many stopped playing. Those who were never paid kept going, even during breaks. This is the over-justification effect. External rewards can crowd out intrinsic motivation. Too much control can kill joy. Even neuroscience supports this. Autonomous motivation activates systems linked to deep learning and creativity. Controlled motivation activates stress and mechanical execution. In complex tasks, freedom often makes people think better. That helps explain why early Google-led engineers spent 20% of time on self-directed projects and got things like Gmail. It helps explain why Microsoft Japan tried a 4-day workweek and productivity rose. Autonomy, competence, relatedness, these are not luxuries. They are human requirements. Before demanding discipline from yourself or others, ask, do I have choice? Am I getting feedback? Do I feel supported? And practically, this leads to 3 moves. First, give choice and give reasons. Translate I have to into I choose to. Second, create challenge and feedback. Break huge tasks into winnable rounds. Third, create support and connection. Move from isolation to shared effort. That's how agency is built. Suppose you're a manager, teacher, or parent. Don't be a control freak. Feed motivation. Explain why a task matters. Offer small choices. Give feedback about the work, not about the person. And show relational trust. I know this is hard. I believe you can do it. That nourishes all 3 needs. Now suppose you're the employee and your boss is controlling. You can still reframe. Search for meaning. This spreadsheet isn't because the boss said so. It's helping improve decisions. Create micro-decisions. Choose your rhythm. Choose your style. Even tiny freedoms restore autonomy. Gamify dull work. Can I do this 10 minutes faster than yesterday? Create challenge where none exists. That rebuilds competence. And honestly, joyful people do this instinctively. This history teacher who turns lectures into stand-up comedy, the programmer who writes haiku in Code Commons, the street vendor who plays tofu like fine dining. Even in ordinary work, they inject the extraordinary. And the first 3 people are like that too, because beyond a certain point, there is no script, no checklist, no one telling you the next move. The problems are self-defined. The path is self-chosen. The risks are yours. That requires agency. Self-determination theory is really just treating humans as human, and it reveals something beautiful. When you live more freely, you often perform better. Thank goodness. Because imagine if greatness truly required endless self-torture. If excellence meant becoming less human, that would be terrifying. But reality seems kinder than that. The highest performance often comes not from coercion, but from freedom. That's it for today's content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.